Hello there, my name is Martin Henley. This is the Effective Marketing Content Extravaganza. And if you're new here, how could you possibly know that I am on a mission to give you everything you need to be more successful in your business, providing, of course, what you need to be more successful in your business is to know more about and be implementing more enthusiastically, efficiently, and effectively sales and marketing in your business, which is, of course, what you need. You need more customers more profitably. So what goes on here is I'm here giving you everything I know about sales and marketing. That's the series on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I pull in anyone I can find with experience to share. If you are looking to be more successful in your business, that's Talk Marketing on a Tuesday. Every other Wednesday, Melanie Farmer comes through and we look at the marketing news and speculate wildly about what it might mean for you in your business, in your marketing career, in your marketing life. And on the other Wednesday, I review so you don't have to. Thursdays, I'm here thinking out loud. And on a Friday, we review the very best and the very worst of marketing content on the internet. So if that sounds like it might be interesting or useful, please tell me it does. We're only here to be interesting and useful. Now would be the very best time to like, share, subscribe, and comment and get involved, because that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic journey. Now, you lucky sausages, it is that Wednesday when Melanie Farmer comes through, the concierge of co-creation at Crazy Might Work. We look at the marketing news and we speculate wildly about what it might mean for you in your marketing life, in your business, in your marketing career. Good afternoon, Melanie Farmer.
Here I am, everybody. Good to be
here. Are you ready to speculate wildly? Is that what's going to go on today?
That sounds awesome. Let's do that.
Excellent. This is what we've always been doing, I think. This is what I've always been saying we've been doing. Have I just been on my own in the wild speculation thing?
I've noticed you have. I'm joining in now. Get ready.
Okay, good. You're getting it ready now. Okay, good. So we like to start with a boast. Is there anything you'd like to share with the world, Melanie Farmer? What have you been achieving?
Yeah, I guess. Have I had a boast about? We had a really good, client session just today, involving using all of the senses. So I'll probably leave it there, but really got that client talking about challenges in a really transparent way. So we surfaced a lot of things that we can do to help them. So we used a few different new techniques, which is really cool.
Okay, and people are going to have to tune into a future edition of Talk Marketing to find out exactly what it is that you've been doing, which I'm really excited about. It sounds really cool what you're doing. You're going out on a limb a little bit, which is what I think you need to do. My boast is, what is my boast? I'm off to do some work in the next couple of days, so that's going to be very exciting. And I've had a haircut, although I'm realizing I look a little bit like a monk because my new barber is kind of cut around here. And yeah, so it's looking a little bit monkish. But apart from that, I'm perfectly happy with it. But we're not here to talk about haircuts. We're not here to talk about how you surface issues for your customers in pitch meetings. We're here to talk about the news. So what has got your attention in the way of marketing news, Melanie Farmer, in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, recently the Edelman Trust Barometer report came out, which is very much distracting me and hijacking everything else I might be interested in. It's all about how across the world consumers and employees are trusting businesses or trusting government and so forth. So it's been going for 23 years. That I'm interested in. It's just come out. The second story I've got is around, it's another research report that Adobe did about how content and workflow are interplaying in terms of what's important in running your business operationally. So it's kind of an operational thing. And then I've got a little story which I think is interesting when I think about the trust report of Ikea making dolphins out of waste materials. So it's sort of a sustainability story, but it's interesting when it's juxtaposed with that trust report.
Fantastic. Okay, good. What's caught my attention is it all is kind of umbrellaed. It's all around kind of creators and what's going on with the social media platforms. So YouTube has made updates to its ad policy, which I think are interesting. The results are in of the first month of monetization on YouTube Shorts. That probably sits alongside TikTok going in the other direction. They're going to 20-minute video features and thinking about how they are going to reward creators for those. And then the other thing is there's news coming out of Meta, which is interesting because maybe this is a bigger story, because they're going to start charging for there's going to be a paid membership level of Facebook, and also their AI, which is driving their advertising, has seen a 32% uptick apparently in effectiveness. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on for me around social media. So it makes sense then that we start with your first story around this Edelman Trust report. So what's going on with this, Melanie Farmer? What have they found?
Yeah, and look, I've downloaded the report. Let me just check what you're sharing a link there. Trust plummets. So they're talking about
this
Australia.
This is marketingmag.com.au.
Yeah, and you can for free download this report. So Sue Parker, who wrote this article, is not the author of the report. It's a global report. It's looking at trust, but what is interesting in the marketing side of things is how poorly social media tracks. So in the very, very first table you see in that story, right at the top, just after that, trust in industry sectors, social media comes last. So just at there's a little graph where it's blue, 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 and then red. Red is the distrust that consumers, there it is, are having in social media, as not just the platforms, but the companies themselves. So Facebook, Twitter, so forth. So you see, I mean, it is quite small there, but what you're looking at is the shift that's happened. So it's just continuing to drop year on year, the distrust of social media as a sector. Whereas interesting to me is that we really trust technology. So with technology, we'd be talking there probably about Samsung, IBM, and Apple, and so forth. Whereas social media is those platform-based sort of sectors, and then everywhere in between. But it is really interesting, and there have been some big shifts, but particularly I'm just interested in what this means for social media. And then if you go through this, one of the things I did notice is that it looks like, if you just look at this report, that the Japanese are the least trusting nation of all, because they're in the bottom 3 countries of all of those surveyed, and that's much further down. In terms of how they trust government, NGOs, and business, they come in the bottom 3 countries for all of the above. And then they sort of talk about the significant, I suppose, differences between that trust. So, for example, Argentina have the lowest amount of trust. If you come across to South Africa, have almost no trust in government. So if you're going to be a brand targeting South Africa, you might want to really disassociate yourself, for example, with any kind of government looking or feeling messaging. But they have 40 points higher trust in business. So it's really this huge trust in business compared to trust in government. So there's just some really interesting dynamics going on there, I think, and decisions to be made if country by country, if you're targeting that sector and just understanding what's going on with trust in those different countries. And they talk about why that is and what are the factors that influence trust.
Yeah, and this goes directly to marketing, doesn't it? Because the first thing we have to establish as marketers is trust. We need people to trust us before they are going to give us their money. So I think it's quite interesting because we describe social media as big tech, don't we? But interestingly, in this, tech is right at the very top of the tree and social media is right at the very bottom. So maybe people are dissociating social media from technology in that regard. And you have to say, with the advent of AI, it's not going to get better, is it? It's really not going to get better. But now people are going to be
No.
questioning every single thing they read. It's like, is this true or is this computer generated? I mean, we've already had audience capture of almost everything. Like everyone is just telling people what they want to hear for clicks. So it's not going to get better, is it? So the question is then, if people don't trust social media, this is a point I've made before, is like they're talking about what do they call it? Ad apocalypses and stuff, where advertisers dissociate themselves from horrible content or inappropriate content. But how long is it before the actual platforms are toxic? How long is it before just appear at putting an ad on one of these platforms associates you with this untrusted media? It's interesting.
Yeah, and it really does vary country by country. So that's an overall snapshot. And
Yes.
the caveat to this, who did they ask? And it says something. I think 32,000 participants in this from across the world. Yeah, 32,000 plus respondents, about 1,000 per country. Bit more
Yeah.
than that actually. 20 countries. So it's fairly robust. But what's really interesting when you click into the report as well is they kind of neatly unpack, and I think it's really relevant for marketeers, the journey of trust, because it's very much about brand loyalty and all of that. So really how it began in 2001 with this influence of pressure groups and NGOs, and their
Yep.
influence, for example, on drug research and AIDS drugs, for example, for HIV, that really started to kick in. Um, and then it started to be the fall of government, the rise of social media, and now we're seeing that flip. And so
Yes.
there's this cycle of just, right? And now in 2023, the headline is navigating a polarized world. So I think we can all relate to what that means.
Yes.
Um, but I think most important in all of that is going to be you really need to be authentic and know your customer and stick to your value and all of that, as opposed to chiming in on everything and losing your identity. So, I mean, saying that, there is some stories findings in this report about what citizens expect their governments to speak up about, and what they expect business to take a stand on. So there are some things that, in general, people are saying they expect brands to take a position on, but it's not many, and it's for different reasons. So, for example, if it were climate change or sustainability, that's more for a recruitment thing. Am I going to go and work for this company? Do they have values in that regard? As opposed to, is every product, you know, built the same way a rainforest would be? So there's levels and there's times and places for those messages, and all of that's wrapped up in a neat bow. So it's just an interesting read.
Yes. And this is interesting because I had this discussion with Mark Carter about whether brands should be political. So interestingly here, 63% will buy or advocate for brands based on their beliefs and values. So the answer, it would appear, to that question is that they should. I would have thought, only intuitively because I've got no data, but I would have thought not. I would have thought that there's a real danger in this polarized world. If you pander to one end of the scale or the other end of the scale, nobody really knows what the silent majority are thinking. But it looks there like this, the majority, certainly of these respondents, 63%, are thinking, are these brands aligned with my beliefs and values? What makes it interesting is I have connections in South Africa, and everyone is universally unhappy with the state of the government there, from what I am seeing. So that kind of vindicates this or validates this a little bit in my mind. But that is because I think businesses should be focused on delivering value and not having anxious M&Ms. I don't see how that adds value to the world myself. Okay, cool. So I think that's good and useful. I think people should go and check out that report 100%. We're going to have to rattle through these a little bit today, aren't we? Because you've got time pressures, not me. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So let's go to my number one story. I don't know if it is my number one story. It's a little bit just about what maybe the video platforms are up to. So, for example, here, I need to zoom out a little bit to make that fit. YouTube updates ad policy to allow more profanity in videos. So this is going the other way after all of the ad scandals. YouTube now allows more profanity in videos eligible for full ad revenue, while strong profanity may receive limited ads. But this is interesting because we were told previously that it was the advertisers who were driving these policies. But now it seems without any mention of the advertisers at all, YouTube have reversed that policy. So the news is you can swear a little bit if you like now in the videos because it's not going to get us demonetized. More interestingly from YouTube is YouTube is sharing the results of the first month of Shorts monetization. So they are quoting somebody here who made $2,918 from 290 odd million views, I think it was. So it's around 2 cents per million views, per 1,000 views, from 196 million views. So this is interesting because this is YouTube going clearly after TikTok, whilst TikTok are going in entirely the opposite direction and going after, can I pull that down so it works a little bit? Maybe I have to move us. The headline, TikTok introduces new paywall 20-minute video feature. The thing that's interesting to me, so they're going in the other direction. They want to go long form. YouTube want to go short form. YouTube are now finally monetizing for creators short form videos, the YouTube Shorts. Whereas it seems to me that this is a thing that we've touched on before with TikTok, which is that they are always primarily, like their first instinct always seems to be, how do we get value to the creators for this content? And what they're talking here is they're talking about putting together series, is what they're calling it, up to 80 videos that can be 20 minutes long, etc., etc. And this is behind a paywall, and creators can charge between 99 cents and 189.99 for their paywalled content. So it's the same thing again, whereas it seems like the first instinct for TikTok is how do we remunerate our creators, where YouTube come only very late to the idea that, I don't know how long Shorts have been around, a year or two. Only now are they monetized. It's only 2 cents per 1,000 views, which is, not very much money. Doesn't sound like. But what they're saying in that story is actually the big value of it is the reach, because we know that all of these platforms are driving views on short form because they want to take on TikTok. So there's a bit going on around video creation and content and creator remuneration and things. Do you have a view on that?
I like the way TikTok are creating category in this space because, there's always this moment where you think who's going to beat them. It's been so forever and ever, thus shall it be so, etc. That you have a giant and eventually it falls. But I mean, I like the fact that TikTok are doing something different. I like the focus which is on rewarding, I guess, art, but creators who are doing something that is desired. And you can see that YouTube, who were the original category creator, are now competing. So I think it's a mistake. Personally, I think that YouTube should be sitting at the table and saying, what is our category that is no one else's category? In fact, that was some of the feedback we saw from Pinterest going, why are you putting videos, we're not using this platform for that. So I think know your category, know your value, do that, double down. If you get distracted and start competing, you've lost your category. So
Yes.
I think that is what I would say about other platforms trying to cross back to because there's a reason we were successful. So there's something there to I mean, saying that evolution's good, but I admire TikTok for being able to create category in such a crowded market.
Yeah, and
And
I've
who's
kind of got
next?
this vision of like two eels eating each other. Do you know what I mean? So YouTube is eating TikTok's short form, while TikTok is eating YouTube's long form. And because YouTube are vacating that, I mean, maybe not vacating that, but they are exposed there. And I don't know. I wouldn't be at all surprised if TikTok actually beat them now at the long form game also, because I think the missing ingredient is creator compensation. Like people will create for you if, and not even in a selfish way. What it does is it gives people the opportunity to create. If you remunerate them, then they have to go to work less, and they can spend more time, invest more time in creating their content. So I think that's where the story starts. Like before there's a video, before there's a creator, there's nothing. TikTok seems to be all over this, and YouTube, I think, are playing catch up again, like you say, in a category that they don't really belong in. They don't need to be in. But it's this ego-driven. We can't be beaten by this Chinese social media platform. Interesting.
I have I have one thing to say super quick on it is we can't talk about this and not mention Web 3.0 because I think the users and visitors and followers are going to, through 3.0, have their own tokens, if you like, right? And then the creators who are gathering those followers can leave YouTube, go to another platform, leave TikTok, go to another platform, and all of their followers and viewers can
Yes.
come with them and live, right? So it becomes that it's platformless. So I think that Web 3.0 is going to completely transform trust and change and give a lot of power to those who have the followers, because it's like you brought all these followers to a platform, and then if that person leaves that platform, um, that's the end of that, right? If of course they might be looking at other things, but there's this idea of uh, creators having their own agency, having their own
Yes.
and taking these followers to another platform. So I like that. I think that's going to be really interesting in the very near future to see the effect of that on the power of a platform in its own right. So you're not at the mercy of some policy at all. That you just leave, and then all of those followers immediately have
Yes.
access to wherever you go to.
And 100% the platforms are going to do everything and are doing everything they can to resist that. But power to the creators, that's what I'd like to see. 100%. Let's march on because we're under time pressure because you're so busy, not because I'm so busy. Which brings us to this news from Adobe. Content remains king. Adobe research reveals the latest trends, including content and workflow. Isn't it interesting how all of your stories are kind of data informed and mine are just, this is how I'm feeling about this?
Is that right? Oh, don't worry,
It
I've got a
feels like
touchy
that.
feely, literally.
Yeah.
My next story is definitely not data, whatever. I think I just got real excited about data this month. And
Okay.
look, I don't know this data. I, I'm reading this and thinking, did a bot write it? I can't help thinking, is this? With all due respect to the lovely Liv Crow who ostensibly wrote this. So, but I would say it is interesting, just in as far as the one of the things that's mentioned in here is the second to last sentence that kind of got me and got my interest is that it's saying more than like 40% of organizations in this or employees have prioritized streamlining and leveraging AI. So does this mean using chat GPT or whatever, and this is to automate collaboration processes, they can work more efficiently? But I mean, working more efficiently, does that mean like I'll get this bot to write my stuff and do stuff for me and organize? I just think it is interesting how um, if content if they're saying that it's about good content, but there's an attention on workflow and processes within organizations. And I just wonder if you would become very efficient if you just had these AI bots writing your stories for you. That's where I'm coming from. That would really
Oh,
increase efficiency.
that would really
And I,
increase efficiency, but really, I think, drive down effectiveness. That's the danger here. So we are at the
yes,
precipice. I think actually creating content like, we do is time consuming. It is a very different skill. I mean, that's the point that I wanted to make about the last thing. For marketers, the news about YouTube Shorts is, it's driving awareness. So if you are interested in driving awareness in your campaigns, then YouTube Shorts is a way to do it. But businesses will never be as good at it as individuals because they're on different missions. Do you know what I mean? They are on different missions. So I think this is always going to be a challenge for. You all right? Okay, all I was saying is that content creation is always going to be a challenge for businesses. And this is the ray of hope for me in our battle, I think, of small businesses against the corporations, is that small businesses have the adaptability and the scope and the agility to be really good at this, I think. So, but I think we are on the precipice if people think that they can just start churning out AI generated content and that's going to help them. It's not. We've already touched on today, people are losing trust in digital communication, social media. All it's going to do is create more noise and make it harder to stand out and be trusted. That's the issue. I think we are at the dawn of something important right now, and marketers need to be very careful which way they jump because there's a wrong way to jump.
yes,
Good. Shall we march on?
yes, good idea.
Okay,
Yes,
super
so
cool.
don't be
So this one is going to be a challenge to
tiny.
you because I remember the heated debate that we had when your nemesis, Elon Musk, came out and said and put a charge on Twitter. Well, now Facebook have done it. So the question here posed by The Guardian, does paid for Facebook and Instagram signal end of free access orthodoxy, is basically just acknowledging the fact that Mr. Zuckerberg himself has come out and told the world that there is going to be a verifiable subscription-based level of membership now for Facebook. My attitude hasn't changed. $14.99 for people using the Facebook or Instagram. $11.99 for just web access. So if you're not using the app, to enjoy features including a verified badge on your account, certified by a piece of government ID, a monitoring service to deter account impersonators, increase visibility and reach for your account, such as in search and recommendations, and personal support for problems with your account. So, Zuckerberg and his Meta group are taking a page out of Elon Musk's book, who has been in the social media business for about 6 months and did this when he'd been in the social media business for about 20 minutes. My attitude hasn't changed. I think the more verified your users are, the more effective these platforms are for us as marketers and for us as users. I think as long as those investments do go into improving the user experience, then I don't see an issue with it. It makes perfect sense to me. I cannot dream, if I went to sleep for 1,000 years, I would not have a dream about how Facebook could possibly add $14.99's worth of value to my life. So I definitely won't be paying the money, whereas I could see how Twitter could. So how are you going to cope with this bombshell then, given that you were so adamantly against Elon Musk charging, was it $8.99 for a verified account on Twitter?
Yeah, well, is there a free account? I guess there's a free account in both camps, isn't there?
Yes.
So
It's
as long as
exactly the
the
same. It's just
free
that Facebook are doing it this time instead of Elon Musk.
and for more money, like nearly
And for more
double.
money, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very annoyed and I'm having opinions and feelings.
Exactly as you were when
Um,
Twitter did it. So that's okay then, as long as you're consistent.
yeah, I do feel less red storylined about it. I'm a little bit more like I can see some merit in it, but I do feel like there's I feel annoyed where it comes to say charities that are, I would rather there was an exemption. So if you're World Wildlife Fund, I don't want you giving them $15 to vote. I would rather
Yes.
they just verified you because, make an effort, just at least do something good in that regard. And then go ahead and
Yes.
charge the pedophiles who want to be, verified, or whatever, whatever you want to do. But
Yes.
I feel like there could be a category called charities get verified for free as long as we can actually verify you.
Yes, which is consistent. I think that's exactly what you were saying last time around. And maybe there will be a verification level for charities that is not. I mean, businesses anyway, whether the charities or otherwise, are kind of verified anyway because they have to invest, they have to spend money to be involved. So I'm just reminded of all those times when I used to be on Facebook, and every 20 minutes you'd get somebody posting, they're going to charge us for Facebook. They're going to take this free resource away from us unless you post exactly this thing, copy and paste this on your profile to not get charged. And
Yeah.
Facebook insisting forever it was always going to be free. I mean, it does say here that they generated, how many billions was it in profit last year? Oh, 116 billion in revenues. But it faces problems. I mean, it goes to the other thing, which is Twitter had to do it because they are financially in trouble. But the benefit is, I think, a cleaner environment because people, if they have access to their bank accounts, they know who they are, they know what they're saying. I think there are big challenges for all of these platforms around. We see racist attacks on football
Yeah.
players, for example. There's an issue in the anonymity. I think the anonymity added its own flavour for a period of time, but I think we've moved beyond that. I don't see how it is useful for people to be anonymous on social media platforms anymore when they are behaving so vilely. The other news out of Facebook is this, which is interesting to me. The other news is Meta says that its automated ad targeting tools have driven a 32% increase in return on ad spend. And this is interesting because I spoke to John Loomer for the Talk Marketing thing this week. You won't see it for about another month. But he is expert in advanced Facebook advertising strategies. And he was telling me the most effective way to advertise now on Facebook is to trust in the AI. Be very specific about what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve actual sales, if you've got an e-commerce offering and you can take them straight to the sale, they will deliver you as many sales as you could possibly want, which is exactly the opposite to what I've told people forever, which is don't trust the algorithm. The algorithm is only interested in taking your money. But 32% increase is significant. And, I talk about Facebook having had the nectar. It seems like they've still got it. If you want to make sales and you're an advertiser and you have an e-commerce offering, Facebook can deliver those sales and is doing that increasingly effectively. So, just let people know now's a good time to advertise on Facebook. Trust in the AI. Be very definite. It's sales you want, nothing less than that. They will scalp you. But yeah, so interesting out of Facebook. Do you have a view?
Yeah, it's making me think that, well, linking AI to ad spend and this sort of return thing, there's now a bit of a trend happening where you put in your information and you get testimonials as to what you should be using. So let's say I'm a small business and I want to get some kind of project management software just to track some agile software. So I punch in my parameters and I get recommendations from a bot that has scoured the earth to say, given all the parameters you gave, what did people like? And then they tell you, here's in order, these are the things top 5 things you should buy. And that's based on real people, but I'm a bot scouring the internet and scooping that up. So it's just that's an interesting thing because it is an ad in the sense that you're getting testimonials, but it's also not an ad in that it's slightly out of control of an advertiser as to what that bot's going to find until we get really good at having it find us. So now our organic search will be inorganic search, right? Because we'll be saying, let's have the bot find me and I don't care about the humans because the bot is the one who's going to be recommending me. I think it's just really interesting how these things are joining up, and I think that's going to really look. It could be really good, but it takes away the human who's at the center of things. So this is it's a whole other story, I guess. But but I'm just really interested in how is there going to be a bot recommending hotels for me based on my parameters that I've put in? People your age in this situation going who like beaches and this is what you will like, and then
Yes.
I make a purchase. That's sort of been around for a bit, but this is now getting into software and accountants and
Yes.
all.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is like basically you need less skill now to work Facebook effectively because you literally push the button and say, the caveat is you have to be very definite. Like it has to be sales. There's no such thing as a poor quality sale, or it has to be leads. There is such a thing as a poor quality lead, but you can qualify it more by making it more challenging to be a lead. Um, on everything else, like awareness, engagement, all of this stuff, it just goes to junk, is what I'm hearing. Um, so the point about this is AI driven marketing. How long is it before there's going to be AI driven sales? How long is it before there's just going to be bots selling to bots? There's going to be no humans involved in it whatsoever. And what on earth is the point of it all? I think is the danger. But, because I hate Facebook and I'm always talking shit about Facebook, I thought I should bring it to people's attention that this is now available. You can, if you have an e-commerce, if you have a click to basket offering, um, you are only paying Facebook for sales, they will deliver you sales. They will deliver you those conversions. And they're reporting also that it's up 32%. So it's getting better. And I just wish that they would then take away all of their shit offering. Do you know what I mean? Or improve all of their shit offering. So if I do want views on my video, I can pay Facebook for them. Or if I do want awareness of an article, I can pay Facebook for it without it becoming complete junk. That's what I wish. That's what I like. Do you want the last word on this
Nice.
story?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay, so let's go then to our last story. We have done enormously well. We still have 7 minutes before you go to your next thing. This is Ikea Toys Tell Eco-Friendly Family Histories in New Campaign. What's going on here with Ikea? My mother was a straw and father a party cup. Some would say I'm a party animal. This looks interesting in a Swedish kind of a way. All of your stories have come from marketingmag.com.au, we've noticed as well this week.
Today, yeah.
Good.
Now this is in the UAE, right? So it's interesting how IKEA tests in different markets for one, appetite and so forth. But I think this is interesting where it comes to trust because IKEA probably were well known, flat packed furniture, all of that stuff, lots of styrofoam and so forth. They replaced their styrofoam with waste wood chips and so forth, and they're trying to go, pretty green. They're pretty. I mean, that's sort of the Swedish way as well. As a nation, it's pretty up there in reducing carbon emissions, all of that. So this I think is interesting when you think about the trust report because it's we trust business, but do we trust government? And this is starting to get into government policies and decisions a little bit. It's stepping out of the business itself into commentary um, by by it's not just selling a toy now. It's saying that it's made from ocean plastic and so forth. And my question really is like, do we need a toy at all? Do we need this toy? We have toys. So I'd be more excited if they recycled than continue to make new toys, no matter what they're made out of. They're still going to potentially end up just thrown out and whatever. But I'm glad it's not brand new plastic. Hey, it is what it is. But it's more that this is a business. Having a position on climate, probably appropriate in the country it is in terms of Sweden, but this is pitched in the UAE, so I don't know how or why they've done this, but they have this whole character. What is it? Anthropomorphizing of the straw and the party cup, and they get together and they, have this life together, and they produce this dolphin toy, and that's their offspring. So there's a series of video ads about that. So I just thought it was interesting with respect to trust. Is it business stepping into
It's a
commentary and away from?
It's
Yeah,
interesting, isn't it? Because I think because the answer really to environmentalism, this is why marketing will never save the planet, is because all the time marketing is interested in selling stuff. Stuff has to be produced. Like the most environmentally friendly stuff thing to do is not produce the thing. So they're making these toys from ocean recovered plastic. Is that what they're? So it's quite a nice idea. But now immediately we go to the question, okay, these ads are targeting the UAE. Now these things have to be shipped to the UAE on ships, which are using huge amounts of fuel, etc., 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 causing pollution necessary. Do you know what I mean? You can never get away with it. This is part of my issue with this cause-led brands or brand invested things.
yeah.
I think we should watch an ad to give them justice. You know what? It's nice. I like everything the Swedish people do around, recycling and environmentally friendliness and all these things. I think it's just a difficult can of worms to open it. You can't put it necessarily back in the bottle. Let's look at their ad and then we can judge them.
Took me a while to ask my parents about their story. I was told they were sailing the Big Blue aboard a lavish yacht with the sun about to kiss the water and the gulls dancing around the last rays their paths suddenly crossed. Before long, however, they lost that swanky lifestyle. Life took a turn and they were stranded, abandoned, lost in the middle of the ocean. But they had one another, and somehow they managed to reach the shores of an island off the coast of Ibiza. And yeah, that was the beginning of the happiest life you've ever heard of. Their honeymoon lived on, as they never missed a party. After all, what's a party without them? You'll always need a straw as stylish and sweet as Mum, and a party cup as fun and cool as Dad. The fiesta now lives on through me. I'm a
That's a little. Oh no, he was the dad was the cup and the mum was the straw.
party cup. I'm a straw. I'm a party animal. More specifically, a dolphin soft toy made from ocean plastic.
IKEA presents the Blavengad collection for the home we all live in. IKEA.
So are you not enjoying this? Is this what I'm getting from you? Is that you're not enjoying this?
I mean, listen, it's better than just pumping out new plastic toys. But I feel like if I was really going to do something, wouldn't I'd be more interested in them making announcements about their packaging is going to now be made of something else, and
Yeah,
they're going to halve their shipping distances, and they're going to rethink their distribution center. They're going to go solar on this to me is a distraction from reality. It is like you say, they're making products and selling them, and where's the ethics in that? In terms of, I mean, I don't want to challenge it, but it's like, do you need it? Is it necessary? Could you do something else? Could you make it out of your own waste material from your own packaging? So if you dump your waste material back with IKEA, they're going to use that to make toys out of it, right? And close the loop.
Yes, yes.
They're sort of saying that, but they're creating waste in shipping this dolphin. It probably comes wrapped in styrofoam. I mean, who knows what it, but you know what I mean? It's like, if it was made out of your IKEA, that would be kind of a interesting story.
Yes.
Plenty of waste
Very
in the ocean,
interesting.
though. Yeah.
And the thing is, I think, is that it's a cute ad. It's a cute idea. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but I'd probably be more interested to see IKEA sending ships out and collecting tons and tons and tons. Like that for me would be a better message, is because I don't know where this recycled plastic's coming from. Make the story that, you know what I mean? Here we are cleaning up the oceans, because this is like, there must be some of that going on for them to make these toys. I don't know. But if they pulled out hundreds of tons of plastic from the ocean, that's laudable. Do you know what I mean? This, I think, less so. It's a cute idea. It's a cute ad. Sorry?
There you go. Yeah, it's what they're building, because like a fluffy toy, very important to a kid, but what about building shelving, I don't know, something, a door, things, a bed out of it, which is possible when they put it with their waste.
Well, maybe they would, but maybe they only pulled out enough plastic for a dolphin.
That's what's happened.
Yes.
I love your kid.
All right, cool. All right, excellent. I'm going to let you go because we've run a minute over already, although we did fantastically well to get through all of those stories in about 45 minutes. You are an absolute legend, Melanie Farmer, concierge of co-creation at Crazy Might Work. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you again in a couple of weeks, and we will see you again for this really interesting story about how you are transforming your sales meetings with your smells and your amazing slides. We'll hear about that soon.
Before anyone freaks out, yeah.
Okay, you have a great day.
Good.
Thank you for taking the time to check out this episode of Marketing News. If you found this interesting and useful, then YouTube thinks you're really going to enjoy this, and this is the last thing that we've posted. If you haven't yet, and you could take a second to like, share, and subscribe and comment, that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic, epic journey.